what's going on in the industry, the technical knowledge, the skill set of a pilot.
Correct.
And then you get an instructor job, and then you start working as an instructor.
Correct.
So the salary would
So in this episode, we will be discussing about the job opportunities for airline pilots as first officers, as well as we will be discussing about the instructors, and we'll be discussing the general experiences that have had in the last few days.
Air India has been on a hiring spree since the past year, and many CPL holders are getting jobs in Air India. So as soon as they are done with their CPL, and depending on how their interview goes or how well they are prepared for the
Correct.
interview, once they clear it, they are getting job in Air India. And there are other airlines like Akasa, which is also hiring. A couple of more airlines, small regional airlines like Flyback, they are also hiring
Yes.
CPL holders.
Correct. As well as the major airline in India is also on a hiring spree. So since Go Air is not functioning at the moment, because of that, most of the Go Air pilots have joined the airlines which have Airbus 320. So despite of that, their experience, then also they have to undergo the screening test, like they have to have an interview, as well as followed by that there will be a psychometry, and there will be a
Sim check,
multitasking
yeah.
simulator, a multitasking check, like gas or adapt to these things, as well as the sim check. So on successful completion of that, they are getting selected in the airlines. If that pilot has got CPL from India, then he or she has completed the DGCA exams for all the subjects. But
Yes.
if in case that pilot is doing the flight training from abroad, then technical general subject is not studied during the CPL preparation. So it is important that before they get selected into an airline, and when they do the airline preparation, those pilots should be doing the study of technical general as well, along with other subjects, because that is a time when not only your CPL knowledge will be tested, but you should be prepared to answer those questions which are of ATPL level. So it is good to study navigation in terms of the general nav, radio, its instruments in with respect to ATPL standards. If in case you're type rated, then the scope of asking questions is even more, because if a person is type rated on, let's say, Airbus 320, then there will be questions on Airbus 320 itself apart from the questions of ATPL standard. So some people think that if they are type rated, then they would just study for that
For
particular
that
type
thing
of
and
aircraft.
go.
No, that doesn't go well, and those students cannot make it in that attempt.
Yes,
So
and there is no fixed portion or there is no fixed syllabus for the interview. They can ask you anything. And the more you are prepared, like let's say someone has done Boeing 737 type rating, they should know in and out of the system. They should know the incidences which has happened in the past with the aircraft. They should know about the DGCA exams, the syllabus which was there for, because they have given the DGCA exams plus ATPL if they know about the ATPL subjects,
correct.
like in depth. Then if they ask the person any technical question, that person is able to explain it, and that creates a very good impression on the interviewer.
Correct. So apart from knowledge, there is the skill test also, as well as there is one sim check, I would say, in which they need to perform and handle various abnormal procedures or emergencies.
So sim check is only for the persons who have done their type rating, right?
Yes, the one who is type rated have to undergo a sim check also on the level D simulator, full
Okay.
flight simulator. Okay, whereas the one who are not type rated, they have to undergo this. There are various tests, like apart from psychometry, there will be
Compass
gas or
test,
adapt,
adapt.
or compass or
So it has
fast.
various
There are
different
various
names.
tests. Okay, depending on the selection process, the test varies, and that they have to clear. So now, despite of a person being a type rated, then also they have to undergo these checks. Nowadays, that's happening. So it's like, first of all, the things go like this. The steps are written exam, then psychometry. Thereafter, there will be the multitasking ability
Pilot
Okay.
aptitude
A
test.
pilot aptitude test and multitasking skills test. Thereafter, there will be interview and then there will be a sim check. So this is a trend which generally most airlines follow.
Mhm.
So be it Air India or the another airlines. So that's how it goes. So when we talk about a candidate once they get selected, then after the airline training starts. So that is a later part. But students who do not really thoroughly complete their studies this way, they may not get selected. So,
Okay.
of course, those students should not be demotivated and just lose their guard and then not perform for the
Mhm.
next one. If in case there is a failure, it is very important that a person learns from it and then perform better when the next opportunity comes. So next opportunity, if it comes pretty soon, you need to start preparing yourself. But obviously you wouldn't know when the opportunity is going
Yes,
to be
yes.
there. But still, whenever the vacancy comes, you have fair enough about a month or two time in order to prepare yourself.
Mhm.
In that time, need to be completely focused and not deviate your from your goal, because it is a crucial time which is going to decide whether you're going to get selected in an airline or not. When you spend so much amount on your CPL training and the typewriting, it is very important that you gave a due justice to it. So it is important that you utilize those months properly and then go for the next one. Else, there is another way which we can do. So that is that person can consider becoming a flight instructor, right?
Mhm.
So
Yes, so that is about the pathway which a person, like if he or she wants to become a pilot,
correct,
so they can choose the instructor pathway. So
correct,
how it goes is, so there are multiple ways to become a pilot. You can join
right,
the Air Force, there's cadet pilot program, there's conventional pathway. But if the most affordable way to become a pilot would be the instructor pathway, because
after
now if you
becoming
see,
CPL.
yes, after, so
Mhm.
after, so instructor pathway as in like after once the person is done with the CPL,
Correct, correct,
after that go for instructor rating
correct,
and
correct,
become a flight instructor for, and become a flight instructor for 2 to 3 years.
correct,
So this would be the most affordable pathway to become a pilot, because the CPL will take around 12 to 18 months, will cost around 45 lakh rupees in India, and then another 5 lakh rupees for the instructor rating. But now, due to the demand, so as the demand for pilots have increased, the instructors who are working at the flight school, they are all hired by the airlines.
correct,
So now the flight schools are looking to hire more instructors. Okay.
Correct.
So this 5 lakh rupees, which was required for the instructor rating, so now the flight school is sponsoring that.
okay,
So you don't have to
okay.
pay for that as well. And that
Okay,
depends
okay.
on the flight school.
Correct,
So let's say 45 lakhs you are done with the CPL, and as soon as you are done with CPL, you go for instructor rating, and then you start working as an instructor. So for that also you have to give an interview
right,
and
right.
pass the test. So as soon as you start your training as a pilot, it's very important to be on your toes to know each and everything,
Correct.
what's going on in the industry, the technical knowledge, the skill set of a
Correct,
pilot,
correct, correct,
and then you get an instructor job, and then you start working as an instructor.
correct.
So the salary would start as soon as you are a flight instructor. So if a flight instructor works at a flight school for 2 to 3 years, they have sufficient number of hours to get an ATPL, which is
Correct.
Airline Transport Pilot License.
Correct, correct,
After which the transition into the airlines would be much easier for them.
correct,
Meanwhile, if they have taken loan or anything, in those 2 to 3 years, they can save the money and repay the loan,
correct,
or they can save that money for their type rating and airline training.
correct, definitely. This is one instructor pathway through which they can get both the things. That is, they get revenue also as a salary, plus they get the hours also. So both things happen at the same time.
Yes,
and that is
and
also a handsome salary to save amount for
Yes, yes,
typewriting.
definitely.
So it ranges from about 60,000 to it goes to about 2 lakhs or more.
That depends
depending
on
on your
the experience and the flight school.
Correct.
And also this option is only available if someone is looking forward to do their training from India.
Correct.
If someone is doing training from abroad, then what they can do is once they are done with their CPL and they come to India, and while they are applying for the jobs, they can apply for jobs at an airline as well, like ground staff or dispatch or customer service, anything. Just get associated with the airlines, so you are moving closer to aviation, right? And some airlines have internal vacancy. Let's say if you complete 6 months, if you complete 2 years in an airline, then once the internal vacancy for CPL holders comes in, that person can apply for it. There'll be much lesser competition there.
Correct. Compared to like applying out of 3,000 candidates who are CPL holders, you'll be applying among maybe 100 candidates who are the part of that airline and have completed their CPL and are looking to become a pilot in that airline itself. So that is the way where they can upgrade themselves in that particular airline itself. So that is available only in few airlines. So if that candidate applies as a CPL holder, and then also he or she has to undergo the entire process, screening process. It is not that he will be waived off from the screening process. So there will be written exam, there will be the psychometry, there will be multitasking and skill test, as well as there will be interview. After this, once that candidate gets selected, then he will be the part of the airline as a junior first officer. So then after we'll undergo the training, that is typewriting, and thereafter he will be a junior first officer. So
yes, so the selection process will be the same. They will test the skills as they tested for general people, but the process would be much quicker, I would say. And as you are already a part of the airline, you know what goes in the airline.
Correct.
So it's a good way to get into the airlines. Right?
So as well as a ground staff or cabin crew, when you clear all these assessments, thereafter, if that candidate gets selected, then he or she will be given letter of intent. That letter of intent, based on that, the candidate has to do typewriting in those organizations at which the airline is collaborated with, and then that is a TRTO where the entire typewriting will take place. And once that is done, thereafter they will be getting the joining letter after the police verification and the endorsement. So like you are at that stage, right?
Yes. So I'm waiting for police verification and my endorsement.
It's
been over a month. Yeah, if I would have gotten like last week, I would be into the airlines in this month. So now let's see next month. By next month, hopefully I will get it. And yeah.
Then you will be getting you'll be on a payroll.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, you were speaking about the cabin crew. So how do they do it? Because they also work in an airline and then they also do their commercial pilot training.
So if in case the commercial if they are not CPL holder, if a cabin crew is in an airline and she is not a CPL holder already before joining as a cabin crew in that airline, in that case, CPL flight training takes about more than 6 months. 6 months is just enough, but it is very ideal and quite optimistic to complete it within 6 months. So it can take just over 6 months, about 8 months or so. So the maximum leave, unpaid leave that a individual can get in an airline is again dependent on airline policy, but on an average about 6 months.
Okay.
Some airlines it is just 3 months, and then in a row they may not get more than 3 months. So it depends on policies of that particular airline. So within that much period, it is not very possible. It is not quite possible to complete the entire flight training. So then in that case, they might have to resign it and then they complete flight training and then they join it like another, any other candidate. But if in case that particular cabin crew is already a CPL holder, then she can apply in the internal vacancy and thereafter get selected and then do typewriting as she is on a letter of intent.
And I've seen many people nowadays, they are switching to the pilot career. So currently they are working as well, and they also started studying for DGCA exams and stuff. And as CNTAA has the on-demand version, right? So that becomes very easy for them to access it. And right now, as the market is really good, so the persons or the people who are interested in becoming pilot and somewhere they couldn't do it because of the external factors or finances. So right now they have arranged all the finances and they're ready to start. So most of them, like you would also know, who are studying on the on-demand platform and are working really hard to clear the exams and then start their pilot training. They're very passionate about it and they're very alert about everything. And you can identify them like, okay, this guy is studying really good, scoring about 90% in the quizzes and stuff.
Correct. Absolutely. That's great. So the one who's passionate, they do it really hard and they are able to succeed. If in case someone is not, and then it becomes challenging for them. And it is important that your dedication is quite important in order to finish your target in a stipulated period of time. Because as the opportunity is there right now in aviation, the candidate should make the most use of it and not delay the training process as much.
Yes, time is the most important thing now. The quicker you get your CPL, the higher you have chances to apply for the opportunities.
Absolutely.
So you can study for DGC exam in 2 months as well. You can study it in a month as well. So whatever is the timeline, so let's say a person decides to complete it in 3 months, then there should not be one day more than the 3 months. Okay. So if you have decided, if you have goals, then go for it. Okay. There's no point in delaying. There's no end to delaying, right? You can delay it for 5-10 years. After that, airlines won't be hiring as well.
Correct. Yeah. So recently I was just flying with a just released first officer and there was a supernumerary also on board. Okay, it was a very long day. In fact, it was we were doing 4 sectors from Chennai to Cochin to Bangalore, then Bangalore to Jodhpur, Bangalore. In Bangalore, when I was coming in for landing, we were like about 30 miles and I saw a patch of weather sitting right over that runway where we were going to land. Okay, so like a red yellow patch. And that time first officer was the pilot flying. So I was like looking at that weather. I was like, I don't think you can land because as a first officer, they are not allowed to land on wet runway as per the DGCA guidelines. So like circular, that is a car. So the thing is, I said, I don't think we'll just ask the ATC. So I just asked and he said, yes, it's raining over the field. And then visibility also dropped because of rain. And then that entire weather, because of the wind, it was moving towards our approach. So it was over the runway and in the approach also. So it's like a huge patch of weather which covers that entire area. So I was I thought that, okay, let's just take the control. So I told the first officer, I'll have to take controls. Weather is getting bad. He's like, okay, you land, but I'll just configure and then, configure as in we'll just take flaps and then we will get stabilized. And then I said, no, it is really getting bad that let me take controls. Okay. So he's like, okay. So I said, okay, I have control. So the moment then we intercepted localizer and we were on glide, wind started fluctuating like, head cross. And then when we actually entered that patch of weather, the wind, the speed arrow just went like down.
Full down.
I was like, shit, I was increasing speed, but then it went like this all the way. And then the moment that happened, we got wind shear. So I was like, okay, wind shear toga. So no change in configuration. So that time configuration is flaps and gear basically. So whenever you are already in a wind shear, you're not supposed to change it, because whenever you change the configuration, so the landing gear it has something called as landing gear doors. So those doors open before the landing gear is retracted. So we
Okay.
were already in a landing configuration, so landing gear was extended.
But the
And
doors
then
were closed.
some doors get closed.
Hmm.
When you want to retract the gear, that time those doors have to open again, which increases the drag more.
Okay.
So whenever you are in a wind shear, you should not change the configuration. So I just put the hands on the flap lever, because in the normal go around, there is a always
Go around flaps,
you retract the flaps, but here it is different. If there is a mistake in doing this, then you can just sink
Sink
really
in and
bad.
then
So
hard land.
then
Pump.
it is
Landing
not so
gear
funny. You are
damaged.
still on the approach. You are not on the runway. So we just got this wind shear. Oh my God. Okay, then I just said, okay, wind shear toga. No change in configuration. We got out of wind shear. Then the aircraft which was behind us, so we reported the ATC that,
Wind shear.
okay, going around due wind shear. So the aircraft behind us also said, okay, we are also going around. I was
Yes.
like,
Taking
you
no
can
risk.
continue. And if you get it, you should go around. Why? That aircraft
Zero
is going
risk ticket.
around. So that aircraft is also, he's like, okay, we are also going around. I said, okay. So then we just came in. Now Bangalore has 2 parallel runways. So here, that day they were just using one runway. So then I thought, okay, we should use the another runway, because another runway doesn't have any weather around. So we could do that. You can ask them. But then when we were just coming in, we just checked fuel. The fuel left was about just 13 minutes extra then. So we were like, okay, fine. It is still okay now, because in a go around you consume a lot of fuel. A lot of fuel. Like you don't just go around without a reason. You do consume a lot of fuel. And I don't know, recently I've had like just 2
Lots
go
of
arounds.
yeah.
Like but it was inevitable. This has to be done. If you are in a wind shear, you have to go around. There is no option. So then you come back, and then we just attempted the approach on that runway, because by the time we came in for another approach, that patch of weather had just gone away slightly, and it was fair. So we came in for another one and then landed. So that's how the whole situation was. And then, yeah, we just reported. Then we had to file a report on landing that wind shear on approach. So that is a mandatory report to be filed by pilot in command.
Yes. So the
Yeah.
so the JFO was back sitting or was doing the
Yes.
Superman flying. He was my batchmate.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So
That's
yeah,
great.
he had to talk about this incident to him. Yes.
Yes, that's good. So that day, the first officer who I was flying with, so he was very
was a
newly,
newly
released.
released
So
FO.
then, like, he was just there. He was frozen.
He was
just
processing
didn't-
what's going
he was
on.
processing what's happening. Okay, and then we were asked to give individual statements of this particular event. So I wrote a mail regarding that, because anytime when things like this happen, which is unusual, there is a report needs to be filed to DGCA and to the company. So that individual statement, so he's like, he was asking me, Captain, what do I write? I said, if you agree with what I've written, you say that, okay, I agree. If you have any other inputs to put, then you can.
Okay.
So that's how it is. So on that particular pattern, so we were doing a layover pattern. So on that pattern, we did one of the days in Bangalore, the weather was fine. So that day we did that particular sector. We did raw data approach. She's like, oh, I had not seen this before. Then in Jodhpur, we did visual approach, because that was the only approach available that day, because winds were favoring that runway which has only visual approach. ILS was available for the another
Opposite.
runway. So like, Oh, I had not seen visual approach also ever. Then wind shear. Then next day we were landing in Bombay and it was pouring heavily. And then we landed, and that time, so Viper is going fast, aircraft speed is so much, and it is pouring so much,
Can't
and
see
then it
anything.
is visibility is obscured. Although it was above minimum for landing, but it was just above minimum for landing. And then like, oh my god, he just clapped. He's like, oh my god, I should write an essay of a day in my life when I'm experiencing all of it for the first time. Said, okay, fine, happens. So it was good experience. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think most of my batchmates, they are into the airlines. They are as junior first officers,
Right.
and they have lot of stories to tell as well. We'll try to get them on the podcast someday. But
yeah.
as a pilot now, it's very difficult to get or meet at a point because everyone has a different schedule.
Correct,
So it's
correct,
very
correct.
rare that two
Correct,
pilots
correct.
have the same off.
True,
Okay,
true,
so
absolutely.
how's your schedule nowadays?
Nowadays, I am on every month I get 1 week off. So
Yes.
I'm on that off right now.
Okay.
So
apart
otherwise-
from that, how
Oh
it
my
is?
god, otherwise I am flying a lot. Yes, it is whatever is minimum rest. After that, the next flight, minimum rest, then next flight, then again, same thing goes on. And just mandatory day off. Yep. So mandatory day off is basically it is 7th day off, 1 day. Then after
Wow.
next day you should not have a reporting before 8 o'clock in the morning. So then you have a afternoon reporting or something. So basically it goes like this. After in every 168 hours, which is actually 7 days. So then you should have 2 consecutive nights off. So
Okay.
basically 2 consecutive nights is from night, it depends on airline whether they consider a night as 12 to 8 or 10 to 6. So either. So then if it is like 12 to 8, then from that time, these 2 consecutive nights, you will get off, basically. So one day, if you land, let's say in the evening at 6 o'clock, next day is complete day off.
Okay.
Thereafter, then next day, you have reporting in the afternoon after 8 o'clock in the morning. So basically you get 2 nights.
Good
Okay.
enough time to rest.
Just that much in the entire week when you are like flying. So if you're flying on the maximum FDTL where you're doing duties back to back, you're either flying or you're sleeping or you're getting ready for a flight and eating food. That's it.
And studying.
In this time, once this is your roster after you're released to fly as a first officer or a captain. So that time, whenever there are any revisions in the, any operation notice or any kind of changes in the manual, those need to be studied.
Okay.
But otherwise, you are more or less flying a lot. And then depending on, of course, what is your base, what is the requirement, what is the airline you're flying for, how many hours you're doing on an average, depending on that. Okay, that's how it is. So on domestic sectors, we end up doing maximum duty of about 12 hours. And then that is duty time. That
So that-
starts from the time you report
Okay.
till the time you are done
Log
with
out,
all
yeah.
the sectors, and then you put parking brake on till there. Thereafter, half an hour is there, but that doesn't come under flight duty because it takes time, for you to get out of aircraft,
out
then go
and
to
yes.
transport, and then so that is like half an hour. So, but then that is not counted towards your flight duty. It is counted towards your total duty. But maximum flight duty is for 12 hours for domestic sectors, and then landings, that depends again on maximum allowed by DGCA is 6 landings.
Okay. In a day.
Yep. For 12 hours. Yes.
12 hours, 6 landings. Wow. Have you done it? Like 6 landings. What is the maximum
No.
landings you have done?
I've done maximum as 5.
5
Yeah,
landings
that is
in
because
one
of
day.
the diversion. 5.
So if you go around, acha, you don't land only. Yeah. So to become a pilot is really expensive and it takes a lot of efforts. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you are someone who is looking to become a pilot, so it's just an advice from our side that don't pressurize your parents for the finances. So if they are able to afford it, then only you can go for the pilot training. Otherwise, there are many alternate options to become a pilot. You can either study, work, save money for a couple of years, then become a pilot. Okay. It's not
Correct.
like if your dream is to become a pilot, but then the finances are not good, then you should not pressurize your parents for it because they have done a lot for you. That's what I believe. Like my parents have
Correct.
done a lot,
Correct.
likewise your.
Correct.
So whatever is in their best capacity for their kids, okay, they will do that. So here we guide pilots, we guide aspiring pilots for their pathway to become a pilot. We by no
Correct.
means ask anyone to become a pilot. So if you want to become a pilot, we are there to guide you. Whoever wants to become a pilot, we make sure that we give them the right and the best guidance.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes, so that is one thing, and another thing is you have to be biologically blessed to become a pilot. So before starting your pilot training or before starting your flight training, make sure you get your class 2 medicals done and class 1 medicals done. So you know and you are sure that yes, I'm fit to become a commercial pilot.
Absolutely. So, class 2 medical should be ideally done from those doctors who are class 1 medical
Mhm.
doctors.
Hmm.
But you should do your class 2 medical from those doctors. Now, that is my personal advice, and that is what you should do, because if in case you are doing class 2, you are starting your pilot training journey, you are starting your pilot ground classes. So if in case class 1 medical doctor has certified you class 2, then in most cases, in like 99% of the cases, you will definitely clear class 1 medical. So if class 2 medical has any issue, because nowadays we are having some students who have issues with their eyesight, in the sense not spectacles. You should have 6x6 vision with spectacles, that is acceptable. But reasons or cases where there is color blindness or partial color blindness or color deficiencies or night vision is affected, or if in case there are some people who have their audiometry issues where certain frequencies are not audible, okay, so those things need to be looked into whenever
Yes, so what I have observed is like the things related to hearing. Okay, so now like some people like from 10th 12th onwards, people like to party, so they spend longer duration of time at the clubs where the sound is almost more than 120 hertz, and
Yes.
like if you stay in that environment for 2 to 3 hours,
Correct.
it can cause permanent hearing loss. Like it can reduce your hearing
Correct.
day by day.
Correct.
So the more time a person spend in those environment, the higher the chances are
Correct.
that their hearing
Correct.
their hearing power would be affected. So that's what I have observed in the new generations, right?
Right.
Because they like to party, and that is good. Okay, being party, there's nothing wrong with that. But then if you want to become a pilot, then you also have to take care and you have to be aware about the situation.
Correct.
When
Plus
you're
ears, when we talk about nowadays, there is a trend of listening to loud music on headphones. So that is also very dangerous. So
yes,
beyond 50 to 60%
60%.
volume is always dangerous. So you should limit the volume at which you are listening to songs or listening to any audio. Exposure to high volume should be reduced
Yes.
to minimum as much as possible.
High volume
So-
and longer the duration,
Yes.
more is the damage.
Absolutely. Yes.
So that is about the ears. Now, if you speak about the eyes, then like now due to digitalization or whatever you call it, most of our times is on the electronic devices. So what we do, so as a measure or as a safety measure, what I do is to block the blue light which is coming out of the device. I use all my devices on night mode. So it causes
Right.
a little yellow tint on the screen, which won't strain my eyes a lot.
Correct.
And the glasses which I'm wearing, that also has blue light blocking.
Correct.
Okay, so that's how I protect my eyes. So if you are someone who's using or who studies a lot on the devices, then this is how you can protect. So if you block the blue light, then it will cause least damage to the eyes.
Correct.
And same with the food. So the food which you eat, like you can have burgers, pizzas, and whatever you like once in a week, not every day. Okay, so most of your diet, like say 6 out of 7 days, should be a balanced diet with fruits, vegetables, and generally consist of whole food, and work out at least 3 times a week. You don't have to lift heavy weights. You can just go for a walk 30 minutes. You can go for a jog 30 minutes. Okay, simple things which gets your heart rate up. And you feel fresh. You can do yoga, meditation. Everything is good. So that's how you take care of the body, because as a pilot, the retirement age is around 65.
Correct.
So to be fit until that age, if you start taking care of yourself from now onwards, then yes, you can make it. Yeah,
but it is challenging to keep yourself fit till that age. Not many people can make it till that age. So it is important, especially when you have that kind of hectic schedule. Then you need to ensure that you still do yoga, meditation, just for like 10 to 15 minutes is also absolutely fine. And then if you do half an hour of workout, that is good. So.
And the food which the pilots get at the layover hotels, which is a 5-star hotel, so how is that food? It's good?
Yeah, that's pretty much, it's very hygienic, it is clean, it is healthy. Of course, what you want to eat, that is your choice. Okay, what do you order? But then,
I mean, you do get options of a salad and fries as well.
Yes, you do get option of everything: burger, pizza, or you have pasta, or you have any fast food, or you can have a proper meal, Indian meal, or any continental meal. So you have the option. So
what you select there also matters.
Yeah, of course. Definitely.
I mean, it's hygienic, but then it's the fries and all, they're oily.
But you need not order that.
No, I'm saying, so there you have the, like, let's say you have fries and you have like dal rice.
You have a buffet.
Okay.
You have a choice of buffet. So you can go there.
Okay.
And
I was thinking that you order like separately.
No, that is you can order an a la carte, or you have the choice of going to the buffet and then take the plate.
I've seen my friends this thing stories and all. So if you see the dessert section, there are 20 different types of dessert. So I'm like, what? So there's a time.
I have a very bad sweet tooth.
So they have 20 different options, and then like. I don't know. If I would be there, then I would have tasted the 20.
Yeah.
All the
initially,
20.
Yeah.
Initially, but then,
afterwards, when you get used to it, and then when you do so many layovers, then you just pick one or two which you
is
like
your
the
favorite
most. Correct. Because you have to trade off between your weight and then what you actually consume.
So at a young age, let's say 20, 25, 28, 30, till 30 everything is okay, but after 30 then your body will show you some sign. Okay, you are eating this, you are eating too much of sweet, because until you are the age of 25, your body, whatever you put in your body, okay, it won't tell you, okay, you should not consume this, that. So that's why people, they don't realize, okay, they are doing something wrong with their body, but at some point of their life, then the body starts to show the effect of how it is treated.
Yeah. Especially smoking is very, very hazardous when it comes to flying and smoking, because the effect of hypoxia will be enhanced if that person is a chain smoker.
Okay.
Yep. Because when you fly at even 35,000 feet or 37,000 feet, the cabin altitude maintained will be about 8,000 feet. So if that person or pilot is a chain smoker, then he would actually be at an altitude of maybe 10 or 12,000 feet. That means he would be getting the oxygen level which are equivalent to the altitude of 12,000 feet.
Okay.
Rather than 8,000 feet. So there might be the chances of, effects of hypoxia seen.
Yes, so these are the little things about medicals. Hope you liked it and hope you got some insights about medical. I mean, you already know how to take care of yourself as a pilot. So this was just couple of few tips if you want to use in your day-to-day life, which will help you to stay fit as a pilot.
Yes, absolutely.
And yes, if you are someone who is starting their pilot journey and want guidance, feel free to reach out to us. You can comment down and reach out to us on Instagram as well. And if you have any questions, let us know. It was nice
Absolutely.
having you here, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you in the next one. Wish you all the best.
Bye bye. Have a good day.